all right, that won't hurt us.
Welcome to the second half of the stress test. I was going to label it It's Only Wood, but we did promise to do a stress test today. And we're getting set up for the stress test. There. So we're not monkeying around with the other setup. It's just too complicated.
Let's do what we have to do here.
Yeah. We don't have any watchers yet, so we might want to wait until we get some watchers. Been on a minute. Normally they're on it, breathing down our neck after a minute.
Yeah, well, we went to lunch and we were gone longer than what we thought we would be.
But they can always watch it after it's aired. Right now, John is making up the holder so that we can hold the stick. I'm going to show you something after we get done with this stress test that will make some people go, what the heck's going on? So I came up with the idea of the scale underneath this fixture, and we're going to push on the stick with the drill press right in the middle, and we're going to see how many ounces it takes before it breaks. And the first stick is what? You got to.
I haven't really. Depends on how you want to go. This is Japanese tissue.
You got to do it with the tissue paper down.
Correct. Japanese tissue. I left a little piece there. This is pointing down. So we're going to go on tear because we want it to zero out with all this weight on it. You got 0 right now. Put it on grams. Wouldn't you know that handle's going to get in the way? Still on 0. Now that handle's going to get in the way. That's going to be a pain in the butt.
This is a scientific test, believe it or not. We need a pencil, piece of paper to write it down. You're not on grams there. No, you were. Huh. I say that it's going to be the strongest. Did you see what it was?
2,300. Let's do one. Get my pencil and a piece of paper.
So that stick broke at 2,300 and I thought it was more than that, but.
See, we got 4 sticks of each one of them to do, so we're going to do 4 of them to get a consistency. This is JT.
Oh, I know why I can't see. Sunglasses. Duh. Awful dark in here.
Here's another Japanese tissue. Same as before. On tear.
Okay, I'll watch this till I hear it snap. That was 17.6. I guess we could just take an average of them.
Well, that's why we're going to do 4 of them and test 4 pieces. And then, what did I do with the other ones?
Grams. It was 16.93.
One more.
$17.44.
Okay, that was the Japanese tissue ones.
Do the carbon. Oh no, do the light first. Light tissue. I don't know the way it feels. I think the medium tissue is going to be the stoutest.
Probably. This is Brodeck light.
$19.14. $17.72. Stop. You're on pounds.
No, I'm
Well, $21, $22, $22.28. 2228. It didn't snap there, but that was the highest that I saw. I wonder if it's in the wood.
Well, we got 4 pieces, and all this stuff was cut out of the same piece of wood.
Yeah.
So we had one piece that was 4 by 36, and we cut all these pieces out of the same piece of wood. They all got 3 base coats of dope, tissue on it, 3 top coats of dope, or 4 top coats of dope.
$17.03 or
That's all
$17.23.
38. Close enough.
Do the carbon.
This is brewed. I'm gonna save it for last. You're itching too much for that carbon stuff. We're gonna save it to last.
Brodak medium. I think this is probably going to be, it feels like it's the most stout. I thought it would be the Jap tissue, but so far, I think the light silk span beaten the Jap tissue. Well, we're going to average the breakage points, but. Yep. 1892. $24.95.
$20.
2005. $18.63, somewhere in there.
Doesn't have a tattletale on the scale, which sort of hurts, but it's close enough. Now remember, all this stuff is the covering is going down on the underneath side of all these.
So we're stressing it, we're not compressing it. $19.
Be nice if the scale would stay on.
$18, 20 something. $14,123. No, zero.
I can pull back off this and do this, start over again. Sorry, but it didn't seem right.
95. That's probably the highest number we've seen, isn't it?
No, it had a 24, had a 22, had 23. All right, and give me a second. We'll tally this stuff up. Take all four numbers, add them up, divide by 4.
We got 4 watchers. Well, we're waiting on results from the test. John is doing the tally. And after that, I'm going to show you something that'll make your hair stand up. Let's see. And we got a thumbs up. Thank you for the thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber or member of the channel, please join. Like, subscribe, share. Super chats help. We picked up 2 members on the last go around. When I go home, I'll start editing up Bearcat Finish 3. Probably be released to the members tomorrow.
Okay, the Brodeck Medium came in first, strongest. Japanese Tissue came in second. Carbon Fiber Veil came in third. And Brodeck Light came in fourth. And that's 4 pieces cut out of the same piece of wood with the same treatment of what you'd do from a base covering job up to right before color paint.
You probably can't see that results, but
yeah, I don't know, but Brodeck Medium came in at these are grams, 2,063.75 grams as an average of 4 breaks. Japanese Tissue came in at 1,874.25 grams as an average. Carbon Fiber came at 1,805.5 grams. And Brodeck Light Tissue was 1,432.5. So
now, the respective weights. This is the heaviest weight material. This is the lightest material. Well, I don't know. Carbon Veil may be the lightest. But the difference between finishing, this Japanese Tissue was ready to paint, and Carbon Veil needed another
3 or 4 coats of
yeah, 3 or 4 coats to get it ready to
it
paint.
was just ready to start sanding on. Its first sanding after 3 coats of dope, and then you got to put more on after that. That Jap Tissue had already gotten a shine to it and was ready for very light sanding, 6 iron grit sanding or whatever, and throw the color on top of it.
Right.
Now all these were put on just like you would on your airplane. They're put shiny side out, the same system you would use to cover your real airplane with. So we pay particular attention. It was put on damp, just like you would do your airplane. Do a solid surface. And like I said before, it had 3 coats on it as a base and sanded lightly, and then put the tissue on there, the carbon veil, and 4 more coats of dope over that, and sanded lightly in there, just very lightly, just to get the big grit off of it, and then let dry for over a week. So these are our test results. It surprised me that carbon didn't come in absolutely last place, but Brodeck light tissue evidently is a little bit weaker. Or, that's 4 pieces. We cut, we had 1 piece of wood that was 4 inches by 36 inch long. We cut it into 4s, and then we cut each one of the 4 pieces into 4 pieces, and 1 inch wide strips, and that was after we covered it. We didn't cover the little 1 inch wide strips individually. We covered the whole 4 inches by 8 inch piece as one piece, and then sliced it into 4 sample pieces. So this is our results. Read them and weep.
I would say that the best bang for the buck is the Jap tissue.
I do too, because it takes more dope to fill Brodeck medium, and I think that the medium, if you sit here and look at this isn't filled yet. This is still, you have to be here to see this, because you really can't see it on the camera. If you look at it, it's starting to pick up a little hint of a shine, but it really needs a coat, sanded, and at least another coat, maybe 2 more coats of dope on that. And then the carbon veil, you can literally see it. You can still feel the little hairs, and I'm sure that if you took a piece of sandpaper to this, that you'd be through it in nothing flat. If not, it's just going to turn the wood black. And about 50% of that veil's gone there already, and this is some
Old 320.
old 320, yeah, that worn out.
Grab the Jap tissue.
The Japanese tissue, boy, you can just see that. You can see the shine already built up on that. That's ready for color. A very light sanding and ready for color. No more base coats on that. And the Brodeck light. Brodeck light's starting to get some shine to it, unlike the Brodeck medium. But you can physically see the difference. The same amount of dope out of the same jar, the whole shebang. This is about comparable Jap tissue on ready to finish wise. It's real close. The medium, that is Brodeck light. The medium is still dull. It's very much obvious when you, I don't know if you can pick up that shine or that glare on the 2 different pieces, and this is, top one's the medium, bottom one's the lightweight Brodeck. This needs more dope on it. I guess that's the end of our test. We, little surprised. I sort of figured the Brodeck lightweight tissue to be in 3rd place.
I figured Japanese tissue would be an absolute first, but when I picked that up, remember what I said is these feel...
They feel, well, you've got the Brodeck medium tissue is probably
twice
as heavy as the lightweight tissue. Now we didn't mic them to do the thickness test, but just going by what you get out of a package. I think that's a pretty conclusive test, as close as we can get without, some scientists coming back telling our experiments way wrong.
Yeah. Well, I talked about this several times, and I dread doing it. But I waited till I got over John so that I could cut this out. Let me see the scalpel.
Scalpel.
Now, I already did one. I did
Doctor.
it before lunch, but I wanted you to see that I wasn't kidding when I said, it's only wood, no big deal.
For all you a faint of heart,
Yeah.
cover your eyes or.
Yeah, cover your eyes.
Oh, that hurts! Ow! He is cutting the wingtip off his airplane.
Yeah.
Like you said, he's already got this one cut off and a piece tacked on there.
Here, help me turn it over. Grab onto the wing.
Yeah, watch me don't hit up there.
Most guys would not do this, but John and I have cut the whole ass end off an airplane and moved the stab forward 1 inch after the airplane was ready to go.
Yeah, I did mine 4 inches. That was after a crash that needed some reworking anyway, but still, it didn't break the airplane apart. It just sort of bent it a little bit, but it nevertheless cut it off and moved it ahead 3 inches. You're not going to put anything between these? You don't need it, right?
No.
I'm going to tack these together for you.
Okay. Probably ought to tape these together so that I can fish them out easy. Yeah, most guys wouldn't do this, but I did not like the way that it looked. And seeing as that this is not going to go to the Nats this year, I'm in not any big rush to get it done. I'll be flying 2017's airplane, the old wreck.
Yeah.
Gonna lag on appearance points, but whatever.
Mr. Chickenpox.
Huh?
Mr. Chickenpox.
Yeah. Okay, zona saw. We'll turn it over to the oh. Sure is light with two guys on it.
Yeah.
line slider out of there. So let's see what they got to say about that. Nobody said nothing. How many of you guys would do that? Burp, nobody. Especially after it was covered and ready to go.
This line slider looks familiar.
Yeah, Brodak.
Bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit.
I ain't made it
Brodak
big.
did.
This is my line, one of my line sliders.
Matter of fact, it was in my profile. I don't know, you might have made it. I thought it was Brodak.
Nah, that's one of mine. Hey, I can tell by my eyelets. I use a completely different kind of eyelet than what they do.
Yep. That and the wingtip wing box came out of my crashed profile. Weigh that up. Oh, too late. 7 grams, I think.
Nine.
9.
This one's a little thicker in some places.
Okay. Well, I didn't do a very good job of cutting this straight.
Here.
Yeah. Yep, I need that one.
No noise.
We're gonna need the camera on the other side.
Half-inch.
Yeah, quarter on each side. Oop. Getting excited. Wow. Got a big whoop in it here. have to add some wood here on the bottom. The rib kind of pulled in. Might have to put a new cap strip on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Might have to do both.
Might have to.
Huh?
Might have to. And determine that at the last minute when you after you tack it on there and shape it. Looks like you got a high spot right here.
Right.
Pushing out under.
Hold
At
on
the
there.
end of the spar.
Yeah. Might have to cut a new rib to put in it. Nah, probably not. Just a new cap strip. Let's see what it looks like. Let's pin it on there this time.
Pretty good.
Huh?
It's pretty good.
Let's pin it on so we can trace it. Hey Richard, thanks for joining the Stunt Hanger memberships. Look for the post to come out. For the membership only videos. You got it?
Yeah. You just hold it or like.
Okay. Now trace it.
And make sure it's right and good.
Trace it and then I'll saw it.
Can't get to
And
it.
then we'll tack it and then I'll carve it. It'll be done in 15 minutes. I still got to get a coat of dope on the fuselage before I leave here. But now at least with this camera I can take it upstairs.
Yeah.
One thing at a time, though. We'll get this tacked on and saw it out. And that's how that looks. And then I'm going to go over here to the saw. Of course, you're going to hear the vacuum.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too
It don't take long.
intrusive.
Just cut away what doesn't look like a wingtip. Then what I like to do is to take the disc sander and kind of smooth it out. This basically just straightens everything out so I don't have a month's worth of carving to do. All right, now we'll go over here and we'll tack them on. We're not going to worry about hollowing them or finishing them here because I'm just going to tack them on, then we're going to go upstairs and dope. You got your glue?
Yeah.
Let's have some. Wait a minute. Okay.
Like I did the last time, glue myself to it.
Huh?
Like I did the last time, glue myself to it.
Good. Glue on my shirt. Okay. Now it's just a matter of sand, cut, shape, paint, work.
Over and over and over again?
Yeah. Cut them back off, hollow them out. Sand, cut, shape, dope. Don't matter, I'll straighten it out. It's up, isn't it?
A little bit, but you got an eighth of an inch too big.
Well, I'll, like I
Which
say,
is all what you want. You wanted an eighth of an inch too big, so you can sand it down to be right. I don't ever cut anything like that to exact sizes or try to, because inevitably it'll be too small, or you get it on a little bit crooked and then it'll be screwed up. Cut it big, sand it.
I got plenty here.
We're gonna take, he's probably gonna take some notebook paper or something and wrap around this wing and then sand it to the notebook paper. and that'll leave it just that thickness heavy. And then his final sanding, he'll pull a notebook paper off and get it right down to the final little bit. It'll only take a couple swipes of the sanding block at that point, but he'll get it in there sort of close first, and then he'll pull them off and hollow them out, put his lead out guide in there, his weight box.
Needs another drop up here.
The weight box, you got a weight box in the tip actually.
Get the kicker. This won't stay on. See, it's get it up here. Good. It'll stay on now.
Now this isn't gap filling, so
It'll stay on now.
super thin. Yeah, you probably have a rough time cutting it off. Is what it is. At least it won't pop off there while you're sanding. That's the worst part, is have them jump off while you're doing your final sanding.
How much does it weigh? 70 ounces. I'll give my plane, I guess. Take it outside tomorrow morning before the drunk gets up.
You use a plane on that.
He was there when I brought this out. Hey, why aren't you?
He probably stays drunk all day, every day. He's lonely.
He's the janitor at the school district.
Really?
Yep.
Well.
Yeah, you drunk on his butt. I don't do drunks. Not anymore.
Well, it's sort of hard once you've been a drinker and you quit, and then you sort of you lack the tolerance. You're not drunk with them.
Oh yeah, he wouldn't like me when I was drinking.
I used to be able to tie him on. Don't get me drinking liquor though. Turn into a mean drunk drinking liquor. But I could drink 2 cases of frickin' beer and be as happy as could be. Not anymore. 17 years almost.
June 11th is my 29th year sober. The big one is next year.
Gonna go out drinking?
Yeah, just like Red. I just wanted to see if I could still do it.
Go have a couple shots?
Yeah.
No, I couldn't even do that. I took a sip the other day. Barb's sitting there. She still drinks. If you call it drinking, she has about 1 beer a month. And she's sitting there, and man, it was really hot outside. It was 90 degrees, and I'm looking at that beer going, man, that looks like that ought to taste good. I picked that beer up and took a little swallow of it, and I said, shit, man, how in the hell could I ever have drank this stuff?
Piss water.
Oh my God, it tasted horrible to me.
Okay, that's close enough.
But teacher, and if that's your thing, you want to do it, and fine. But it doesn't bother me, that's for sure.
Hand me a trash can. That is close enough. I gotta get some dope on this thing today.
Let me run this vacuum real quick again.
And I can feel the weight already. picked up an ounce or more.
70 ounces.
Ten watchers, 2 thumbs up. Smash that like button. Hit the join button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the share button. Button. Just do
Just
something.
pound them buttons on there.
Just do something. Pound them buttons. Leave a comment. Tell us what kind of knuckleheads we are. But we did get the stress test in. If you want to
Remember,
see that.
90% of the stuff we do is not rehearsed. There's no script. There's no predetermining what we're going to do. It just so happens to be what we're working on at the time, except for with the exception of that stress test. And that was out of our own curiosity. You know, we wanted to do it, and the only way we thought we could do it and relay our facts was to show it. So we had our own preconceived expectations of what was going to happen with it, and is pretty close to being true. Not 100%, but
For the weight, Japanese tissue is the way to go.
absolutely. Least amount of dope, fastest build-up surface. Make sure you put the shiny side out. And it's the second strongest. You know, medium weight silk fan takes 3 times the dope that Japanese tissue does, and so in the long run, your weight saving is going to be significant. Now, Japanese tissue isn't for everybody. Let me tell you, it's a whole new animal when you go covering with it. It's one thing to cover a stab or a fuselage or something. You go covering the whole quarter wing panel, that's a whole nother ball game, especially a big 60-inch wingspan stunt plane. And it's not for the faint of heart, because it does. We didn't do a puncture test on an open bay of any of this stuff, but it's not puncture resistant by all means.
Where's that other box of dope that is it still out in the garage? It must be.
Of what?
I brought another little box. It had white dope in it. Dope brand.
I don't know, unless you brought all that stuff down here. Where'd you put it? I don't think you brought it down here. The only thing down here is that box on the floor over there.
Yeah, the big box.
Big box.
Computer stuff in.
This thing had the microphones and stuff
Yeah, I
in
brought
it.
that up. Yeah.
That's my ink pens.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to make a couple trips. You can keep them entertained while I make a couple trips.
Yeah, we'll head out to the garage here and watch your top. It's tight down here when we get a couple microphones and a camera or two, and just don't have the room to move around.
And you can take the camera, I guess.
I mean, here we are, you know, it's a,
Take the battery.
yeah. It looks like a demo we gotta take out. I'll take his glasses box up. That's one more thing. He's got a whole studio down here. We're trying to get it up and running earlier, and it's sort of a little bit too much to play with.
It's hot out here. I wonder if I left it in the car. I know I brought it.
Not on the trash can where you normally. garage door open. That's a lot of light. Do you guys have anything like this out there?
What?
You guys got anything like this out there?
No.
You know what that is, don't you?
Yeah, for paint gun.
Yeah. Compression end. They're going to be hard to find. I'm going to have to go online to some specialty shop to get that. And then I got to figure out what thread it is. Or order 2 different kinds of threads.
Let's see, we need to reshoot from the other side. Because white balance. There we go.
Just bother it.
No.
Get some air circulation.
All right, the trick is, now we got the tips cut off, roughed in. We'll just paint it like that. Nah, I don't think so.
Ah, you're a spoil sport.
But I wanted to get some dope on this fuselage so I could lay fillets and stuff. I got to get the tissue on it. The fuselage still needs some more sanding, but the wood's so soft. You go from hard to soft, you got to have it all hard. So this dope here is the tinted dope that I hear people are saying that they thought of.
Right here's where your 6 ounces starts. Starts at the bare wood. People asking where your 6 ounce finish starts at. It starts right now, bare wood on out. Mind you, this is not a small airplane, and it's going to be very hard to get a 6 ounce finish on it.
It'll probably be 7 for the size.
Probably B7, yep. You know, it's got a wing area of roughly 600 and
No, it's
or
over
780, 790, right?
Yeah, it's
Is that right?
whatever. I mean, it's a big cord.
Yeah.
What did we say, 13 and a half?
Yeah, 13 and a half.
It's 11 and a half
16
without the
span.
flaps, plus the flaps too. It's 13 and a half. You notice this nose will get fiberglass, but I'm putting dope on here to seal the wood. Because you don't want a bunch of Z-epoxy soaking down into I don't know how to explain this. You want some adhesion with the Z-epoxy, but you don't want to fill the wood with resin. So you can either use hairspray or clear dope to kind of seal the wood before you put the Z-epoxy on. My cockpit kind of got, I wanted to do detail in the cockpit, but there's just no way. There's zero room. The stick goes right. I mean, it's terrible.
Yeah, cockpit fell in exactly the wrong spot for your flap control horn. And it's a big airplane, so he's using the big horns and all that stuff, and it's a sort of a shallow, not very tall cockpit or fuselage to begin with. And he's trying to match the other Tucker with the location of the cockpit opening and all that stuff. Is, you know, more like a completely scaled up version of the tall.
I'm making a scale model of a model.
Yeah, yeah, you could consider that a scale model.
Yeah. Bigger scale model of the smaller model. So I'll let this dry for a second and I'll turn it over and get the bottom. I guess I ought to get the nose both sides while I'm at it. I've still got some fill to do on the nose before I put my fiberglass on. Now, right there, I don't know if you can see this on camera or not. No, you can't. Right there, where John had an issue today. These are always a problem. So how to fix that is here I'm sealing with dope, is I'll saturate it with CA right there, and I'll put superfill over it before I glass over it. Then it will get superfill on top of that, because invariably, even when you think you got it right, that spot will show up again. And that's kind of the first place that I look as an appearance judge. What does the nose look like? Did he take the time to completely sand in the shape of the spinner? The nose is kind of the focal point of the airplane. In this particular instance, it's one focal point. The other focal point on this style of airplane is the headrest and rudder. But I'll pay some extra attention to that spot right there, because this one here even has a little gap in it, a little hole. I'll fill it full of superfill and then sand it off. And then fiberglass it. So now we got a couple minutes to wait. Go ahead and ask a question while we're waiting. Still only one commenter, and that was Richard. I thought you guys might find the wingtip kind of informative or whatever.
Well, that's one of those command decisions, you know. What do you do? The other wingtips were okay. I mean, but a solid wingtip just looks so much better than a hollow ribbed or whatever, however you want to do them.
I think the Continental tips look really good. The original Continental.
Yeah, but didn't they have like?
They have an extra rib in it.
Yeah, gives it some shape.
Here comes the
What
boss.
are you doing out here?
We're doping.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Want some dope?
No, thanks. Not that kind.
You're live for all the world to hear.
Huh?
You're live for all the world to hear.
Okay, so that coat is basically, I think, dry enough now. It's a little wet. Turn
It's
over.
only about, well, actually, humidity's gone down. It's only about 58% humidity. Listen, through this stage of the painting game and all the way through, actually, even all the colors, you don't have to worry about blush. It's when you start working with your top coat clears that you really got to start being concerned with blushing. Maybe if you're painting your plain navy blue or something like that, or all bright red, then you might be a little more concerned about it. You can add some retarder and that'll help out tremendously. But we find that gets much up above 45% humidity, then that's when, for us, that's when blushing sort of starts to happen. And I shot clear on my Nobler the other day, and I put some extra retarder in the clear, and it was about, I want to say 55% humidity, and I got ever so slight blush in the navy blue on it. I didn't see any blush in anything else, just the navy blue. But
Of course, I had to come over and point it out to him.
I'm not worried about it because it'll come out with the subsequent coats of clear.
You would probably come out rubbing it.
Probably,
You only got one coat of clear on the thing.
right. So it'll get a sanding. Haven't decided if I'm going to put ink lines on it yet.
It's at 40.5 ounces now, so 2 more coats of clear is 42.5.
I said 42. It's tough to get one. The Nobler's not a super small airplane. It's not large either, but
It's only 550 square.
yeah, you want to keep them 38 would be real nice if you could bring one in at 38.
They used to build them that light, back when you could get good wood.
Yeah, you'd be hard pressed finding the wood to get 138 now, unless somebody just so happened to have some real good stuff laying around. I did build a Brodeck Nobler out of kit wood. I used every piece of wood in the kit, came out 40 ounces ready to fly. Had a Fox 35 in it.
Yeah,
Now,
but see, that one was
See.
2 ounces heavier.
right now I got a OS 32 in it. 2 ounces heavier. Lot more power. So, you pay the price. They flew Fox 35s in those things for years and years and years and years. That's why these guys have problems getting Fox 35s to run, and really there's not any problem. Flood them, dip them in a can of fuel before you start them, and use a good hot glow plug. And
The problem with most motors is the guy who's operating it.
they need fuel, air, and ignition, and a little bit of compression. They will not run right if you have a leaky backplate, and Foxes are notorious for leaky backplates. Most of the time they put them cork gaskets in it, and then the guys over tighten the back plates, and they bend the 3 tabs on the back plate, and then they don't seal right, and then they try to put a paper gasket in it. It doesn't compress like the cork gasket, and you still get a back plate leak. If you're going to use a paper gasket or something on it, use a little Permatex or something on both sides of the gasket. Just put it on there with a toothpick. You don't have to get too overzealous with it. Make sure the ears on the back plate are straight, not bent inwards towards the back of the case. And just lightly tighten it down, just very lightly tighten it down, and let it dry overnight, and come back in there and just put another little 1/16 of a turn on them, and it should be good forever. They're also notorious for not having compression after they've been run, and while they're still hot.
Make sure you run 22% oil in them.
At least 22%, 22 to 29%.
Yeah, that's right.
I've got some brand new motors that I started off with 22% half and half oil, and they're still like brand new, and they're old. They've been run a lot. Uh, they haven't been running anything like a Fox Racer, nothing like that, all on stunt planes. Uh, but they're still like new. The rods are still nice and tight. The main bushing's nice and tight. Still tons of compression for a Fox. You run into problem changing oil content and stuff is on used motors. You can flat out if it's a clapped out motor that the only thing that was making it run was the carbon buildup and the varnish buildup inside of them to give you compression, and you run 22% oil. You'll burn all that stuff out and you'll end up with a piece of crap motor like you had before you.
And don't buy motors that have been taken apart and wire wheeled to freshen up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just not the way.
So we'll wait a second here and flip it back over and do the top.
You do need to clean them out every now and then. If you keep your motor clean, you keep the carbon off the head and the top of the piston, that's as far as you should need to really tear one down. You know, every now and then take a, I don't know, a toothbrush and some Dawn liquid or something like that and put on there and scrub the carbon off out of the head and put it back together. Head gaskets only last so long. You take the head off and on a couple of times. Anything after that, then you probably start looking at a new head gasket. So they compress to a certain point and then they don't compress anymore, and then they get finicky. Socket head cap screws can be a problem on Fox heads because most of the time they're too big in diameter, and if you look down in the Fox head, they won't set level when you tighten them down. A real engine guy would probably go in there on a mill and mill all the holes flat on the bottom to accept that larger diameter screw head. And get you a little clearance on the fins, because a lot of times they'll hit on the fins when you start screwing them down in there, and that can create a little bit of a bind. There's an art to tightening a Fox head down and doing it right. You can actually put a warp in the case by not tightening the head down correctly. You got to be very careful and do it in a star pattern and very slowly and methodically tighten them down evenly. You know, and that requires threads on all the bolts that don't have a bunch of carbon in them where they're binding. A little bit of oil on the bolts when you put them back in helps.
This is turning out pretty good, really.
It'll be fine.
I got a super fill right here. I wanted to wait till I got some dope on it.
You got to harden the wood up so you can sand it. That'll make all that grain stick up on that thing.
Huh?
That'll make all the grain stick up.
Put it on, sand it off. Put it on, sand it off.
Well, just don't start off with a gallon of dope and then thin it down and spray a gallon of dope on your airplane. That's not the good thing to do. Might get you a 19-point, 20-point airplane, but it'll fly like a turd.
Probably not. If you didn't sand, you're not going to get 20 points.
That's true. That's true. It's all in the sanding, guys. Really, he's rushing 3 coats of dope on this thing right now because he's not trying to get away from, you know, having to put that stuff on into his apartment. So neighbors would be raising Cain with him.
Yeah, but I've rushed them before and they come out all right.
That's you. That's only because you put that sanding time in later, and believe you me, it's easier to sand earlier
Oh, I know.
than it is to wait for everything to build up and then try to sand the flaws out of it. That's a lot harder than it is to sand a lot of times sooner than a big time sanding in the end. And trust me, his airplane right now has had a bunch of sanding done to it before it's at this point, so it's by no means your average airplane out there. The sanding before the tissue goes on the wings and all that stuff has to be done before. You can't wait.
I'm not really detail sanding, I'm just kind of knocking the high spots off before I get another coat on there.
Yeah, the shaping's already been done.
If you're shaping at this point, you waited too long.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it's powdering off already.
Top, but it's not as humid as it was yesterday. Well, about the same, I guess. I
Pretty
shot
warm.
that paint. This is just how I shot that paint. I opened the big garage door, opened the little one in the back. I had my curtains down, and I shot the paint. And I think it did pretty good as far as blush goes. I wish it hadn't blushed at all. But overall, it didn't do too.
Looks like we lost a little bit of stream there. I don't know what happened, but we're back. We only got one watcher though. I don't know. The phone's been acting really goofy.
I think they're doing stuff. I think FCC, Facebook, Twitter, all them websites are doing stuff. They're censoring a lot of things. They got their little minions out there that are listening to every single word.
I got some news for you snowflakes. When us old guys get pissed off, watch out. Start messing with my airplanes.
We're messing with the leisure time.
It's a good thing I looked at the phone right away because it was dead. See, we got 6 on there and I've been on 80 minutes. 5 and 5. Hit that like button. Hit that join button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit a button.
Share it with everybody.
Yeah. Just hit a button. Now you'll notice here I'm not painting the whole thing. I'm just spotting the leading edges of this because I'm going to sand there, and it needs a little attention. Leading and trailing edges, all this stuff.
I always put extra coats on the leading edges of everything. Takes the beating there.
Because we're going to start spraying here shortly, as soon as I get the covering on this fuselage. Man, it feels like 80 ounces already.
We're gonna have to change our saying from 70 to 80.
Yeah. I'm figuring this airplane is going to come in around 58 ounces. The way it weighs right now, it's at 54 finished, but guaranteed it won't be there long.
It's a lot of airplane to come in at that weight.
Billy does it.
I know Billy does it. Billy's got 100-year-old wood sitting in this shed, at probably half a semi-truck load of it. You're not going to build that airplane at 54 ounces without using 4-pound or less wood.
Billy's Thunderbolt's 53 ounces.
And he's used 4-pound or less wood, probably majority of it 3.5-pound or 3-pound.
It's amazing. When I picked that up, I said, man, there's nothing here.
I mean, some of them old guys, they do some really outrageous things that you wouldn't think about. You know, they'll mill a motor down to literally nothing. You know, I know George Aldrich would say that line size was what he was doing by stuffing 60 guts into a 40 size engine or 46 size engine. And that was part of it. But it was also because the overall engine weighed a lot less. You got a 60 size motor for a 46 size weight. And you start looking at these new motors that we have to deal with, unless it's a road jet or a PA, they're 14, 15 ounces, just the bare motor. The only motor I've ever seen that came close to, what would be the equivalent of a 60 size Fox 35 is a Double Star 60 Light.
Yeah, but they don't have any power. That's why they call them blubber stars.
No, they're a Super Tiger clone, Super Tiger 60 clone with no ball bearings. Super Star 60s weren't known to be powerhouses. They were just consistent running.
I love how they run. Reminds me of my younger days.
If you're an old 4.2 type of guy,
I don't run mine 2.4. I run it in a solid.
you run it in a fat 2-stroke. They'll run like that without any problem.
And the pollen here.
You blowing bubbles yet?
Almost. COVID. Eight watchers, 5 thumbs up.
I'll bring my profile out here and put some clear on the tail of it. Cover my repairs.
Put some white clear on it.
No, not white clear. Gotta get some of that CC stuff, that crystal clear. Probably blush.
What's the humidity?
53, roughly.
You may skate by.
I might.
But that's on you.
Yeah, I know. So, Bear, I quit sort of panicking on blush unless it's really, really bad. Because you can get it out. It will come out. The best thing to do, I found, is to give it a light sanding with some 600 grit or something like that, just to get some scratches in it, break the surface.
Hit it with some thinner.
Really thin clear, like 60% thinner and 40% clear, and just dust it on a dry day. And a lot of times that'll yank it right out of it 90% of the time. I don't try to shoot no heavy coat on it. It could be, unless it's really, really dry out. You're in Arizona or something.
Yeah, them guys got it good, but it still blushes in the desert. I can tell you that from experience.
Just a pitfall of using, basically a lacquer paint. I know everybody's trying to get around that by their base coat, clear coats, and all that stuff, but it doesn't gas off like lacquer paint does. All your binders and mixtures and all that shit,
Listen, if
whatever
it's not,
you put on it stays on it.
if it's non-toxic, non-flammable, environmentally safe, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Simple as that. All the stuff that'll kill you, xylene, toluene, benzene, all that propane, all that stuff in the paint helps it stick.
One advantage, that's one of the advantages that you get with a dope finish, is you get a mechanical and a chemical bond of the paint. So for every surface, every coat that you put on, it eats in chemically. Plus, it adheres in all the scratches and everything from the previous sandings. A lot of guys, they'll tell you, you need some tooth to that. Well, not so much with dope, more so with your base coat, clear coat stuff, because it just sort of lays on the top. Whatever, and it is only sticking in the scratches. You put on a good dope finish and it'll eat into it 2 layers down.
Shit, more than that.
Yeah, even more than that, all the way down to
The
the
wood.
wood. Put it on heavy enough, use enough retarder, and it definitely will eat down that far. I'm not so sure everything that's in retarder, but it basically just slows your thinner down so it doesn't dry as fast, gives the moisture time to get out of it. I'm sure there's somebody that'll correct me, and I know there's other things in there. I just don't know what they are, but
We don't need to be chemists. We just need to know what
don't
works.
really care. It works. It's worked for
50 years.
50 years or better.
Yeah, you guys that try to make a science project out of everything, there's no need for it. It's all been done.
This dope finish got to be one of the easiest finishes that there are to put on it. All you have to do is be willing to sand. It is the most forgiving, the easiest finishes that I've seen, and you can go out there and put a coat of spray shine on your airplane all you want, and I just about guarantee you, unless you really know what the heck you're doing with it, you're going to have a heavy ass finish, and it's only going to have a mechanical bond. And especially if you're putting it over a non-compatible thing, like putting that over a dope finish. I've seen airplanes where that stuff literally peeled off in sheets.
I will guarantee that I could do a spectacular finish in dope with a bug sprayer.
Yeah, you can. Well, they used to just paint it and get
Yeah, with
absolutely
a brush.
with a brush, absolutely beautiful finishes, but they put a lot of elbow grease in it,
Yep.
a lot of sanding. As with any dope finish, it's a lot of sanding. Or a sanding motion, wax on, wax off. See, Grasshopper. Let us know what you heard last, what we were talking about last.
Yeah.
We went down and we were trying to discuss painting.
I think it's time for a new phone.
Yeah, I bought a new flag the other day. My flag's getting all sort of worn out.
I got given a new flag yesterday
Did you really?
and a hat.
Yeah.
Snap-on man said, "You're a veteran, huh?" I said, "Yep." He said, "Well, we take care of our veterans," and he gave me a 3x5 American-made flag. Good one.
Oh, good.
All right. We got anybody chatting? Anybody watching? Let us know what you heard.
Wing's starting to get some shine to it.
Yeah. It really needs another coat, the whole thing, but I'd rather spray it.
Yeah. You've already got 3 brushed on coats on there. If you start putting in more, then you're gonna have to do real good sanding to it before you spray it.
I just wanted to get a little bit more on the leading edge.
I seen a picture years ago, years and years ago. It must have been back in the '60s. That it was talking about finishes, and that was back in the Aerogloss days. And of course, you had regular butyrate dope too. And
Look at
the
that.
same principle held true back then as it does now. It showed a kid, he was 16 years old or whatever, and it said the key to a good finish is sanding. And he had little pieces of round sandpaper glued to all of his fingertips, and he's sitting in the backyard out in the sun, got shorts and t-shirt on, and he's making these little circular motions in between all them I-beam wing ribs. Sanding